I think you ought to know about men's radio. The place where men and women really speak. Oh man, what a show. It's men's radio. This crazy show is on 3 times a week. Now Russ and Phil are there to help with all your cares. We laugh, we cry, we talk like grown-ups do. But if you're sad and low, it won't cost you no dough. And radio, that's the place for you. With Russ, Kane, and Phil Dave.
It's Good Friday.
You just stopped it. It is Good Friday. It is.
I mean, I just stopped it. Just stop what?
I don't know. Do you know, in the middle of that, it started to slow down like an old vinyl record.
Yes, I noticed that as well. I was rather hoping it was just me, but clearly it was you as well.
No, it was weird. Well, this is a pleasure, says Luke. I thought you'd have a day off today. Day off today. Psh. Not only here, but we're both on Talk TV later. So there we go.
Outrageous.
It's endless. It's endless. Indeed. Paul Claridge, I'll have a bag of nails, please. Paul,
can I suggest? I don't work for a bank, so why should I have it as a holiday?
I have no idea.
You
don't work for a bank, but you control the world's money. Good afternoon, everyone, says Paul. Hope you're fitting well. Well, I'm here.
And I'm fit.
Yay! Wah, 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 wah. Everyone going away? Is everyone not going away? Is what? What's happening?
It's Easter.
Yeah. I'm so pleased I didn't make any plans to travel to Europe. I could not stand that.
It does sound like it would be a touch unbearable at the moment.
But this is what we got so conned. I know you're thrilled that we left the EU, but I gotta say, man, they're just beating the crap out of us because of it.
Yeah, but I find it fascinating the way that people behave around it. No, I do. I find this really interesting the way that people behave around this, okay? Because as a country, we should be absolutely to be allowed and to be in charge of our own destiny. Why is it that people think it's those of us who voted to leave the European Union's fault? I would happily blame the continent for this. Happily, I would. I'd say, well, hang on, this is how petty they're being.
Well, it's the French, and the French have always hated us anyway. Let's not kid ourselves. They've always loathed us.
You can say what you want about those who actually voted to leave, but I have to tell you, I'm sorry. I wholeheartedly blame those on the continent who are making it deliberately difficult.
Well, they're not helping. They're not helping. But if you want a hard border, you get a hard border. That's what you voted for.
That's fine.
And
absolutely fine.
And if they knew the passports,
they chose not to put anything in place to help it.
Well, what they've done is, if you've got, all those kiosks, what do you call them? Well, kiosks, they're not being manned. So instead of X, there's X minus God knows how many. And then they keep taking tea breaks and French breaks and, everything else breaks. And it's, a lot of stuff. And that's why you're sitting in a queue. But if you've waited all year to go away, it sucks.
No, of course it does. It's really horrible. It's pettiness of the worst degree that you've got a load of politicians who disagree with something, disagree with a political stance. But what I'm saying is that those who choose to blame those who voted to leave shouldn't. They should actually look to blame those who could do something about changing it, but choose not to.
No, Phil. Yes and no, because it was made clear that it would be a hard border, which means you have to have your passport stamped and all that bloody malarkey. Don't seem to need that on the Kent coast, weirdly enough. You just breeze in. But you have to do it if you've got a caravan or you got your kids and your dogs in the car and everything. That's just crazy.
Well, we got by without it before, so I think we'll get by without it again.
Well, yeah, but
personally,
it's not going to calm down. It's not going to calm down.
Wow.
Luke Newman, I'm busy writing mental health blogs today. Well done, you. What does Claridge say? I should be out of town tomorrow. Oh no.
Out of town? That sounds very fancy.
Out of town, say what you will, the country say. What was his name? Jack Hargreaves. God, I'm old. Heading down to the seaside to celebrate my birthday with some friends. Today I'm in a pub in Penge.
Good Lord.
Oh, Paul, we could only dream of such fabulousness. I'm in a pub in Penge.
You live the high life, Paul. I give you that.
And Luke Newman says, would you care to read this, Philip?
Well, why not? Indeed. Luke Newman says, last long training session on Sunday with the For Men to Talk attendees, 20 miles ahead of the virtual London Marathon walk on the 23rd of April. I didn't realize it was virtual. Good work. I like that.
Hang on.
Because then you don't get wet.
I don't understand that. Why?
Well, in other words, you do the full 20 miles or whatever it is, but you just don't actually have to go outside for it.
Where are you doing it? Around your kitchen? Luke, you have to explain. I don't understand, fella. And Graham Pack. Hi, Graham. It's indeed a Good Friday. My grandchild is being hatched. Uh-oh. His daughter or daughter-in-law is Daenerys. It's going to be a dragon. It's being hatched on Monday.
Crumbs.
Is that number one, Graham? Is that number two? Have you had any grandchildren before? That's sweet. That's sweet. Nice. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. And the best part of it, you can give it back. That's the best part. Give it back and go home and just put your feet up. Not your problem. You're not getting up in the middle of the night. Done with all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that's it. If anyone ever says to me, because we had, my brother-in-law is currently in hospital. It's fine. So it was arranged, all good. Okay. But as a result of it, my sister and my nephews are staying with my parents yesterday evening.
Not with you, I noticed.
Well, I haven't got the room.
Of course not.
Thankfully. Anyway, my sister and nephews were staying with my parents yesterday, and I was quite nice. I was a doting uncle. I went round to go and sort of offer a bit of a hand.
Did you go around and say, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah, I did actually. Way. I'm not sure who this is.
Do you want some whiskey? They went, "No, thank you, Uncle Phil."
Can't do that. It's Passover.
Oh, all right. I don't understand. All right. Okay, fair enough.
Can't have any whiskey or anything like that.
Why?
It's Passover. I can't have it. Oh, there you go. We're going all Eastery now. There you go.
What? Right. Why can't you have whiskey?
What? What do you mean? Because it's grain. They can't have Passover. They can't have whiskey at Passover.
Oh, God, I'm so lapsed. Luke Newman is explaining this virtual marathon, right? You can do 26.2 miles in any city, town, or village.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's nice. Right. And you still get a medal at the end of it. That's really nice. Is that something that was introduced over the doodah, over the pandemic?
As long as you do it in 24 hours. Now, how is it adjudicated? How do you know people have said, yeah, I walked all around London. Yeah, 26.2 miles. Yeah. And you've been to the Soho Whiskey Club and you've done absolutely no. How do we know?
That's true. It's a very valid point. How do you know?
How do you know, Luke Newman? We want details.
One would assume. I wonder whether or not maybe they have some sort of tracker or something like that. Do you think so?
Those are called ankle tags for ASBOs. Linda Dave, no relation. That. Even I have had a whole bottle of whiskey and I don't even I could have had a whole bottle of whiskey and I don't even drink.
I think she meant that she found yesterday quite stressful.
Uh-oh. Yeah, well, they're kids. And this is nice from Paul. I wish your brother-in-law, Phil, a full and speedy recovery.
Thank you very much, Paul.
When's he coming out? When's he coming out?
I don't know. I suspect that he'll probably be out by the beginning of next week, I think. It's fine. I don't need to, but make no mistake. I promise you he's fine. He will be fine. But, that's better. There we go. We're going all Eastery now. There you go.
Is that you doing Easter?
Yes.
All right.
Easter eggs decorations.
I got the wrong one today.
Oh, he's coming out today, is he?
Oh, he's coming out today. Right. This makes sense from Luke Newman, how you do the virtual marathon. 7 of us did it last year. You get sent an app from the London Marathon and it monitors you through GPS.
Ooh. Wow. I love it. So no town or city is safe.
Ooh. It's clever, but I love it when people say, I'm not going to have an identity card. I refuse to have an identity card. I don't want people knowing. But Jesus, get rid of your phone then. Get rid of your phone.
Good luck with that.
By the way, just to let you know, it used to be that when you took the battery out of your mobile phone, which you can't even do anymore because it's all sealed in, but they used to be, you could take them out. If you took them, then everything was switched off. Not the case anymore. When your phone's switched off, like
I know, it's still going.
It's still on. Everything is still on. All your information still being whacked out to whoever's interested in your information. Never forget that. If you're somewhere where you're not supposed to be, or you really are just a private person, etc., etc., they know everything. Really weird. I didn't like it when I'd get messages like, "And how was the Phil Dave Cafe?" And I go, I haven't written, "I've been to the Phil Dave Cafe," and
I have to tell you, the other day, it is very strange how it's all intrinsically linked, because I was doing a search the other day for some LPs.
The Afikoman.
No, I was searching for the Afikoman. You're right, but no, I was searching for those who don't know. That's
just for Linda.
That's a piece of mozza that is hidden on the Seder night. But anyway, I have to tell you that I was looking for LPs the other day because I bought myself a little toy. I bought myself a new little compact record player. Anyhow,
record player.
Yeah. It's like nice. It's like one of those retro ones. It looks like a suitcase. You open it up and there's a record player inside. It's like a remake of a retro one. It's quite nice. Do you
have any records?
Well, that's the problem. I have one. So I thought I'd better start looking around to buy some more. Anyway, it's true. This is the problem. So I thought I'd better start looking around and see if I can buy some more, because otherwise it might be a bit of an expensive toy and it might get a bit boring.
To play one record.
Exactly. It's true, actually. It's like it'll go on a bit like a broken record. Anyway, so I thought that I would start having a little warrior and have a little look. But let's see. So anyway, I started rooting around for it, and I basically sort of then had an advert come up.
I'm hanging on every word. I don't know where the hell we're going with this, but okay.
I had an advert that comes up.
I'm just letting it fly. Go on.
Telling me about records, and that's never happened to me before. And it's because they were basically copying my search, and it's never had it. So they do track.
Of course,
everything's being monitored. Every time you do a Google search, it's all being tracked. I tell you,
it is. No, it is. That's the point. Elizabeth Green, yes, that feeling of being stalked on your phone. You search for something and suddenly you're downloading ads for that item. Don't like it? Absolutely. Well, that's the basis of all social media. It is mining your data and then selling your data on. That's where the money is. That's what it's about. It's not pleasant, but that's what we all signed up for because we're idiots. I'm with Elizabeth on this. I remember when I was writing the Gatekeeper, and I looked up the spelling of a brand of whiskey that I wanted the character to drink, and within 30 seconds, I was getting adverts for that whiskey. I'm going, what the hell? I just looked up the spelling of it. Freaked me out.
I'm not so sure that I like. Yeah, but I'm not so sure I like this world. This world in which we're tracked and monitored and watching. Don't get me wrong. I think it can be useful. If you've got someone who's up to criminal activity, then absolutely great. They can be monitored. But then I have to say,
Phil.
But then I have to say, no, hang on. Then I have to say, look at crime rates. And then you think they're clearly tracking the wrong. They're clearly tracking the wrong people.
Look, we've got more CCTV cameras in the UK than any other country in the world.
I'm telling you, life is a show.
Yes. And with all those cameras, I don't get it. There shouldn't be any crime. But, oh, God, it is. It's through the roof. Through the roof.
Luke Newman,
and especially London. London has so many CCTV cameras, and they still get away with it. Luke Newman,
we've seen this. We've spoken about it before. It's very
many times, yes. That should be part of the school curriculum. Every kid should be made to watch The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. Explores, as Luke Newman rightly says, explores the dangerous human impact of social networking with tech experts sounding the alarm on their own creations. And it's awful. It's awful.
And the other thing as well that irritates me about that is that I have said we haven't even learned anything from social media, and now we're facing a new threat in the form of AI. So I have opened artificial intelligence 100 times worse. If you think social media is bad, you ain't seen nothing.
AI is very, very dangerous.
AI will be dangerous, and I shall tell you for why. It's by its definition, it is designed to be cleverer than humans. Okay,
well, that's not too
think
tricky.
of it like this: it is designed to be cleverer than humans.
Yep.
And I'm sorry to say this, I don't want to sort of make anyone feel down or worried about it, but you've got to take it with a massive, massive pinch of salt. It will possibly be able in years to come up with new ways of thinking that is beyond the realms of human thinking, ultimately leading to humans being second in the food chain. Think of it like that. Think of it like it
No,
now
you're not being an
before
alarmist.
it's too late.
You're not being an alarmist, Phil Dave. You're being absolutely right. And Elon Musk, I've said this before, and I'll say this quote again because people just don't get it. All right? They don't get it. AI can write now its own code. Let that sink in. It is not humans writing some of this code. The AI is writing its own code. This isn't conspiratorial nonsense, it's fact. Elon Musk gave the following example, and I've said it before and I will say it again because it really does need ramming home. He said, if you're building a road and you've got a steamroller and there's an anthill on the road, your mission is to build the road. You don't give the ants any thought and you build the road. That's the end of it. If AI has a mission and humans are in the way, it doesn't say, oh, I don't like humans. It's not a question of any more than you have feelings for the ants in the anthill. You don't. All right? And AI will simply steamroller through. Why? Not because it doesn't like humans, not because it thinks it's superior to humans, because it has a mission, it has a target, and it'll reach that target. That's what Elon Musk said, and he's not a fool. Luke Newman, you got chat GPI is very helpful, but very scary. Well, goddamn, it's Phil, you're right. AI is a huge threat, says Paul Claridge. Even politicians are saying it's a development that has to be paused until legislation is in place to control it. Well,
legislation will not control it. I'm saying it for nothing.
Control
and
it.
I tell you what,
politicians,
the only
we can't
way,
rely on them for anything. They're idiots.
I tell you what, for nothing, the only way that we deal with it is to shut it down right now. Literally.
But they won't.
That's the only way. And if we don't, mark my words, there is no flipping way that we will survive the threat that comes with AI. I'm not saying it'll be in any of our lifetime, but there is no way.
Whoa. You said that. When they said that the power of computers, the computing power contained in microchips would double every 2 years, and I think they then reduced it to every year, everyone went, oh, not in our lifetime. That was not going to happen. No one could have envisaged the power that is in your phone. In your phone. Not even on your laptop, not even on my MacBook Air, on your phone. That computing power is incredible. 20 plus years ago, something like 25 years ago, the early BMW 7 Series, not the modern ones, I'm talking about 25 years ago, then a BMW had more computing power than it took to land on the moon. That's in a car 25 years old. I don't think people are really quite following what is going on. I really don't think they think, oh, my coffee machine works. That's great. That's AI. No, it's a coffee machine. It's a coffee machine. And it gets into all sorts of areas because where does humanity start and machinery? Where does humanity stop and machinery start and vice versa? Are they going to say that AI has a soul? And eventually, when there are robots, and there will be, if you watch what
there are now to some degree.
Yeah, but if you watch the way that it's going to go forward and they get more and more and more lifelike, are they eventually going to say, well, you can't switch off AI because they have rights?
Yeah, can you imagine? I'm sure they will.
But they will, because we're living in a world, some of which I really think has gone completely mad, and I use the word advisedly as the co-founder of a mental health radio station. I think great sections of the world has gone mad. I think it's just lost its shit.
The problem we've got is that we'll take because we're so distracted with some of the most finite detail, which is so irrelevant to the vast majority of people. I'm sorry, I'm going to be brutally honest. When I say things like trans rights and things like that, there is a very small percentage of the population who that affects. I'm not saying they don't deserve rights. I'm saying that a lot of people don't necessarily care for it because there are more important things to them. If you also look a little further than that, and the number of people who are trying to cancel things in the past, and they're so focused on rewriting history, they're not worrying about the present, they're not worrying about the future. All of these distractions in life, all it is going to mean is that the problem is going to be accelerated. The potential denigration, the potential end of, if you like, human life as we know it. And I'm sorry, I know this sounds dramatic, but I wholeheartedly believe it. I wholeheartedly believe this. You know, if we don't get a grip now, it will be too flipping late. It's just as simple as that. There's no other way you could possibly look at it. And I know that it's a scary thought, but actually, people need to wake up. They need to hear the truth. They need to actually
No. It's much more important to worry about your pronouns. Do you know why China is now the world's leading nation, and why America doesn't deserve to be the world's leading? It's finished. America's dominance is done. It's over. They had their time. It's finished. It's finished because they've been hijacked. They've been hijacked by a tiny minority who has taken up all their bandwidth. Meanwhile, China gets on. Now, I am not a fan of communism at all. Never have been, not even when I was at school. And it was a very radical political environment. Excuse me. But China just educates its children. I'm not saying in a way that I think is great. I'm not. Please don't think I'm saying that. And while America just messes around with nonsenses most of the time, China just gets on. And that's why they've overtaken it. And the stuff they're producing is better. Better. Well, American car industry could be finished in a heartbeat. Stuff coming out of China is cheaper. It's got more tech. It's better made. And they've been sleeping. They've been sleepwalking straight over the cliff. I got really no sympathy for them. I got no sympathy for them whatsoever.
I find it really bizarre, actually. You know,
they should have shut. You know what you said? They should have shut the nonsenses down and got on with the important stuff.
But what really frustrates me is it's not too late. This is what irritates me. I wholeheartedly believe it is not too late to stop this. If we got a grip, genuinely, and I'm not even just talking about the country, I'm actually talking about the Western world as a whole. If we finally woke up and actually realized what is going on before our eyes, step back and look at the bigger picture, I genuinely believe that we could get a grip on things again. You know, the way that we sort of have, obviously, we've been taught a very harsh lesson, the way that we've handed over so much to the rest of the world that we have virtually nothing on our doorstep anymore. So in terms of energy, we know that we've relied far too heavily on Russia when we literally have a wealth of energy beneath our feet. But, oh no, we can't do that because we might feel a slight tremor in the earth, right? All of this stuff that we have decided that we're just going to give away for the sake of it. And what's it done to us? So it's not too late. I really believe it.
I hate to use the word politician because they're rubbish. You know, they're self-seeking, self-serving.
Then it really is not too late. I'm not saying the politicians will do anything about it, but it is not too late.
Really, it's other people behind the scenes who run. These people don't run a bath. But it is too late because no one would have the balls to say enough's enough. Now we stop, because they'd be called a fascist, or they'd be called a Nazi, or they'd be called a dictator. No one's going to do that. No one's going to do that. You've got America run by somebody who clearly has dementia. There's no ifs or buts about it. My mum had it for 16 years. I can see all the signs. That's not a political statement. You just look at the guy. How they could allow that to happen.
It's very disconcerting, to say the least. But then, if you will base yourself on a political system that whoever has the most wealth is the one who can run for office, well, oh dear. That's going to be a problem.
Get some water. Give me a sec. I'll be back.
No problem. But then that is, I hate to say that.
What's going on?
That is going to be a problem, though. If you are going to base a political system on whoever has the most money is the one who will ultimately get to run for office, so then of course that's going to be an issue. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's much better in this country, but at least it seems a little bit more balanced over here. I certainly don't think it's a case of if you've got multi-millions, then you're the most likely to become the prime minister, because thankfully it doesn't work like that here. So I do think that we have pros and cons no matter which way you look at it. But I I wish the West would get a grip, because the way I look at it is, if a fool like me can see it, as I don't understand how people who are clever enough to get into politics can't see it. And if they can see it and they're ignoring it, that's even worse. It's very, very odd. Graham Pack, can Phil add some matzah to the Easter eggs backdrop?
Thank you, Robert Van Buren, by the way. Thank you for that.
I think we're driving you crackers enough without that, Graham.
Yeah, hey.
See what I did there?
Yeah. You know, the trouble is, when you isn't Richie, Richie Sunak is a millionaire and his wife is beyond wealthy. Yes, his wife. Yeah, I don't.
Yes, but he's not risen to. Yes, hang on, Elizabeth. He's not risen to the top just because he's a millionaire, though.
No, it's
that is important
different.
to stress. He has climbed the political system. He has climbed the political system. To be fair to him, don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily Richie Sunak's #1 fan, but at the same time, he has climbed the political system. What I'm saying is, if you look in America, and it's whoever's got the biggest chunk of money can then go straight for the kill and run for the White House. I find that extraordinary. That's my humble opinion, but anyway, what do I know? So,
and buy your way out of jail. Obviously, there's some major criminals running around there. Major criminals, and unbelievable. Elizabeth, I don't understand what you're saying here. We're talking about two different things. There's
yes,
British...
but you can buy good education, etc. And I think I do get what Elizabeth's saying. No, I think what Elizabeth's trying to get at, and I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, but Elizabeth, I'm sure you correct me if I'm wrong, is I believe that you're saying that those who have money will obviously go to the best schools, and those who have the best schools, the Eton lot and that malarkey, often have the connections to the political upper class, if you like. I get that. I understand it to some degree as an argument, but I wouldn't say it's completely excusable as an argument, because obviously there are those politicians who do make it who haven't been to those kind of schools. So I don't completely agree with it. I recognize that there is that as a strand, and that may be a fast track for some people who have money, but I don't personally buy it as the only way in. What I'm trying to get at is, if you have a wad of money, you could become the next president of the US if you have enough money and you decide to run and you get enough backing. It's just as simple as that.
When you see what those American campaigns cost, it is beyond
eye-watering. It's millions and millions. It's unreal.
And hundreds of millions.
I vote Chantal Rickards becomes the next president. That will work.
I think, yeah.
Rickards for president.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, except I wasn't born there, so I can't be president. But that's back to
I didn't know that. You have to be born in the country to run for president.
That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't. Seriously, why Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't run for president.
But I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Arnie would have been president in a heartbeat. He was born in Austria. He can't be president.
No, wow. Phil, I'm sure you remember the whole birther argument that happened around Barack Obama and whether he was born in America and whether he could run.
Hawaii.
There was a whole sort of conspiracy theory about the fact that he was possibly born in Africa. Nobody could find his birth certificate. So everybody was all
Somebody came back to me. I've forgotten that. Yeah, goodness. Whoops. If you don't mind my saying, Chantal Rickards, you're looking mightily tanned. Where have you been?
Tanned. What's going on? I look like I died yesterday. What is happening? You look like crazy tan.
Well, I left the country and found the sunshine in Mallorca and skittled back. So I'm sorry I wasn't with you last week. I was actually on a plane on the way back from Mallorca.
Were you not with us?
Sorry.
That's my sort of charming face, my pixie.
Even you see, Kimmy Lashmore's picked up on it as well. Yeah, Chantal looks well.
It was lovely. I hadn't been there for many, many years, and actually I'd forgotten how beautiful it was, and it was lovely and green, and it's a very pretty island. And I was in a little village that had no hotels in, and so it sort of felt, it was lovely and authentic, and the sun was out. It was freezing at night, but it was jolly sunny during the day.
I have to tell you, both Graham Pack and Paul Claridge have both got the same train of thought here. Boris Johnson was born in the USA. He could become president.
Oh my God!
Actually, in that case, so could my daughter. My daughter was born in America. She could become president.
I think we should run that up the flagpole and let's get rid of Boris that way.
How dare you, communist?
You just want to run a flagpole up Boris Johnson. There's a difference. Any
Right,
odd way.
you've gotta
On
go.
that note,
Dave has to go.
on that note, I'm terribly sorry. I
have.
have to duck out at this stage, but I'd always said it, two's company, three's the crowd. So I shall leave the two of you to it. And I shall say happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Ramadan to all of those involved, to whatever you're celebrating.
These Easter eggs floating about.
No, I don't have to if you don't want to. If you snap your fingers, they're gone. Bang, gone. Anyway, so beautiful timing as ever, Russ. Thank you.
Bye,
right.
Phil.
Anyway, so thank you very much indeed. Have a great rest of the show. And bye-bye.
Bye. He's gone. I never liked him. Gone? No, he's really gone. Yeah. I never liked him. Hey, now.
That's that then.
TV, just you and I.
It's just you and me. Well, there we are. Well, happy Friday.
Phil's got to prepare for a show that actually I'm on later.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll let him off.
On another radio. It's on another TV channel. It's completely different. No.
So he's working twice today. You're working twice today, and I'm not working at all. So that's lovely.
You got a tan. You don't need to work. You're blonde and you got a tan. That's all people need in life.
Actually, I am reading a book for a potential film, an American film.
Is it called The Gatekeeper?
No, it's not. I can't tell you what it's called. It's a big secret, and I'm about to sign an NDA, so I can't tell you anything about it. But it's a great book, and I hope we get the film off the ground.
Wowza! Wowza! Is Colin producing it?
No. No, I haven't chosen to produce
one thing he's not producing at the moment. The man's on a roll. Now, yeah, it's gone crazy. Now then, tan and wearing white looks great, says Elizabeth Green.
Oh, bless you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I bet she's not wearing white by accident, Elizabeth.
No, I'm on my way to the gym, so apologies. I'm a bit dressed down Friday.
God, this is nauseating. Right. May I recommend? I started to watch. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's the matter with me today. The Bay. This is series 3 or series 4 of The Bay, starring Daniel Ryan, one of my Twitter chums. I've never met him, but we tweet. And I have to say, if you've never watched The Bay, start at series 1 and work your way through. It's on ITV, so it's on ITV X or whatever the hell it's called now. Terrific. Started to watch 1, binge watched 3. Great writing, great acting. Touches upon, as I wrote to them today and they replied, so I wrote to the writer and some of the cast, so many huge social issues that we cover on men's radio and women's radio. Huge social issues all wrapped up in like a what the hell's going on, who done it, why done it, what's going on. Just great.
Now, very well worth watching. And we interviewed, if you remember, Dan Ryan about a year ago, because I can remember that I was down at my brother's and we were talking about mugs. And anyway, I now remember we sent him a box of mugs for having taken part on the show.
Wow. God, my head.
But it's good. It's back for a 4th series. It's shot in Morecambe Bay. So for the lovers of the northwest and of Lancashire, because I was born about 5 miles from there, it's beautiful. You know, the scenery is glorious. It's a great, new copper comes in. Daniel Ryan's already there. She comes in to take over the station. And the whole of the first episode of season 4 starts with a horrendous house fire. And the story goes on from there.
But it upset me very much because my late wife's house, we were in Los Angeles, got a phone call that her house had burnt to the ground.
Wow.
And lost everything. We got back to the UK. I said, there's no point going back now. Got nothing to go back to.
Good Lord.
I can't tell you how horrific it is. And I don't even want to go into details. So watching it upset me on a whole raft of reasons, apart from the fact that it's a gripping story.
Yeah. Very well written.
I don't know how. I'm in the middle of novel number 2, book 3, but novel number 2.
Very good.
And thank you. Well, we wait to see.
Has it got a title yet?
Well, my working title is The Influencer, which is
okay.
It's called The Influencer, but my agent's not. He might want to change it. I don't know. I'm thinking also calling it The Wolf and the Ghost, but we'll see. Anyway, it's a murder mystery sort of thing, serial killer. But when I watched The Bay, all I could think was, how has this writer, Dara, mine's gone blank, first name Dara, able to keep so many plates spinning? Wow. So many plots, subplots of that. Just fantastic. Don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it. Could not.
Well, how did you do it in your first novel in terms of tracking all the characters across the piece and knowing who was where? Did you have a book with all the information in, like a script writer would have, with all the different suggested factors? How did you do it?
I never make notes.
Really?
Ever. No, keep it all up here.
Wow.
It's weird. I should do. The only thing I actually wrote, and I'm looking just to the left of the screen, is the two names with the correct spelling of my two main characters. That's it. That's all I've got on a little post-it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. And how many characters, Russ, are you writing around?
This is the thing. There's quite a few characters, but I'm being really open here with you, Chantal. My mind simply won't work in the way that I can have loads and loads of plots running simultaneously. Just can't think like that. I can't think in that way. I think in a very linear fashion.
Yeah.
Beginning, middle, and end, and that's how I write it.
People say, like incredibly complicated books and plots with lots of characters, but generally, I mean, television is a sort of a condensing of that, and so they never normally go for more than 10 characters in an ensemble cast, because more than that, you don't get to know them well enough.
You don't know who they are, and you go, "Who's this fellow?" But which brings us back to The Bay on ITVX. Or you can watch it on ITV if you want. Don't want to binge watch it. There's so many characters, and yet that the skill of the writer, is all about. You're not sitting there going, "Who's this?" Because that drives me nuts. That's bad writing. You go, "Who's that? What did he do? Who's that?" When you get to that stage, it's gone awry.
Yeah.
But the skill of this is everything about, even the children about.
Well, some people some people tend to think that exposition, i.e. the constant explanation of what's happening, who's doing what the relationship is of that person to that person, is lazy, that actually the action should drive it and you shouldn't need to repeat all of that stuff. But then on the other hand, people really like a recap at the beginning of episode 2 because they
but that's not exposition. They always do that, especially like things like CSI. So you've got all these people who are scientists. Yeah, they all look like models and actors. I mean, I'm going back. I'm just picking that as an example. CSI, they all look stunning, obviously, because there's only gorgeous-looking scientists in America. Nobody looks like a normal person. Right? And you got that, and they'll go, I'll make this up. They'll go, yes, could be particular hemorrhaging, because wind strangulation, there's particular hemorrhaging in the eyesight. And you go, they're all scientists. They know this. it's like it's like Max Verstappen going, yes. And with a steering wheel, if you turn it to the left, everybody, the car goes, we know this. That is just clumsy writing. It's just clumsy. That's exposition.
Yeah, anybody who's watched at least one series of CSI actually probably could do a degree in forensic medicine. You do get quite a lot of information.
I mean, everyone sits at home going, get out the luminol, check for blood splatter. The luminol will show you.
It's petechial hemorrhaging, but that's the
you go to Tesco's, you can't buy luminol. I mean, we get to know so much, and yet we know nothing.
Nothing.
Anyway, what have you? There's two questions for you, Chantal Rickards, OBE. This coming in from New York. Has anyone ever watched In the Dark? It's on Netflix, executive produced by Ben Stiller. I loved it.
No, I haven't, and I like Ben Stiller a lot. And I haven't watched it, and I think I better.
Paul Carriage, I watched a very powerful documentary, BBC iPlayer. Sorry, I'm going to take this off. I'm just going to read it because otherwise we don't see Chantal and then people get upset with me, quite rightly so. I watched a very powerful documentary on BBC iPlayer yesterday called The Goal, the inside story, all about the Brinks Mat robbery. Russ, Chantal, it's very powerful and sad, especially as you and I having an acquaintance who was directly affected by the murder of the police officer, father of one. Really?
Really?
Well, I know. Okay, Paul, I'll take your word for it. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Okay. I haven't watched it yet. I did watch the drama that I think we talked about on the show 3 or 4 months ago. About the Brinks Mat thing. So yeah, haven't caught up with that yet, but I'm sure it's worth watching. It's an extraordinary story.
I always wonder, because I'm a very sort of nuts and bolts guy, I always think, well, if you steal a load of gold ingots, gold bricks, how do you sell them? Where do you,
Well,
where do you go? You wander into Hatton Garden, go, hey, I just happen to have. It was my great aunt's. Oh, really? Was it? Yes, it was. Yes.
Well, that was one of the reasons that the whole Brinks-Mat thing eventually unraveled. Bizarrely, they found a guy who could do the smelting in his back garden.
Right.
The neighbors 2 days later started complaining about all this smoke and noise going on in the middle of the night and reported it to the police. But it wasn't followed up for 14 months. Had they followed it up?
No, surely not. With British police? How could that be? I'm stunned. Wow. Amazing. Who'd have thought? Too busy because you drifted into a bus lane. God's sake, come on.
No, they've got cameras for bus lanes, so they don't need to worry about those. They've got cameras for those.
Just desperate. It's just desperate. Sorry. Anyway, so.
Well, you need cheering up. So I'm going to tell you, if you haven't watched it, and I'm not sure that you have watched it, because this is a series that is currently on Sky and on Now TV.
I've got Now.
Okay, well, in that case, you need to go back, and I don't think you have done yet. You need to go back to series 1 of Succession, because the 4th and final series came out last week on television. It's one of the most phenomenal drama series that's been on telly since 2018, something like that. Wow. It's actually was created by a guy called Jesse Armstrong, who used to write for Peep Show and Mitchell and Webb and Smack the Pony on Channel 4.
English?
Yes,
no.
Absolutely. And he created it. It's a lot of the behind the cameras team are British, in fact. Although
I'm stunned. You've stunned me. I had no idea. No idea.
Well, for those that don't know, and I think a lot of people have probably caught up with it because there's been a wealth of publicity about this particular series over many years. Stars Brian Cox as a major sort of lunatic global media boss.
Is he 92 and getting married again?
He's 92, getting married again. Maxwell meets Murdoch, meets mayhem, meets madness, meets murder. I mean, it's just extraordinary. It is a wonderful television series, and this is the very last episode.
Okay.
Brian Cox and Matthew McFadden are the only British characters in it, or British, I should say, British stars in it. And it's about this father who's a nightmare and his 4 children who are all vying to take over the media empire upon their father's death.
Could have known this was coming. I'd have bet money this was going to come up. Would have guaranteed. I'd have bet the house on that one, Elizabeth. You were going to say that. I knew it. Right, I win my bet with myself.
Seriously good writing. It's got BAFTAs, it's got Emmys, it's got Golden Globes. And I think, you just have to watch a couple of episodes, but go right back to the beginning and just enjoy the whole panoply of what's been one of the best television series probably in the last 10 years on international television. It's extraordinarily good. It's so well written. It's very dark. It's very bleak. It's a satirical, they call it a comedy. It's really a drama, but there are very funny moments in it. But it's unbelievably well done. And it's got that sort of perfect group of about 10 main characters, all, just dastardly. Every single, there aren't any of them that you really like, but bizarrely you do want to spend time with them, which, doesn't often happen.
It's weird because if you think about it, that is like Seinfeld. When you analyze the 4 main protagonists in Seinfeld, they're all terrible. They're horrible people. I mean, they're just people you really won't want to spend time with, and yet you're fascinated by them, and they make me cry with laughter. But they're all ghastly people. You didn't watch it?
No, which is terrible of me because I know it's supposed to be one of the best comedies.
If you don't like it, you don't. I mean, some people just don't. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld could not act his way out of a paper bag. I mean, he can't act. I mean, no. The other 3 are fantastic. They're proper actors and all the sub characters. But Jerry Seinfeld, listen, he made a untold fortune from it, and it was the biggest hit, as you know.
Indeed.
But I mean, he can't act at all. But it doesn't matter because the others carry him throughout every episode.
Right.
Completely.
I should try it. Have you watched every episode? Is it something that you sort of
Seinfeld,
stick?
I've watched every episode probably several times. Because there's just stuff that just makes me laugh.
Okay, well, my bad. As soon as I've watched a few, we'll then reconvene.
But remember, I've never seen one episode of Breaking Bad. I'm the only person on the planet. I've never seen it.
And you love a good story. You'd love Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Everyone, my daughter's furious with me. She's still angry with me. She can't believe she said at one point she wasn't going to speak to me until I started. I started watching it. She can't believe how I didn't watch it.
It doesn't age. It's worth watching.
Yeah. I've seen a little clip. Going back to Succession, the only thing I've seen with the Succession is a terrific montage of Brian Cox telling people to blank off. And I watched that and I thought, oh, this guy's amazing. This guy, Brian Cox, is a fantastic actor.
He's brilliant. And
wonderful actor.
You feel as though he was born irascible because he just plays that part so well. He's so grumpy and his swearing is so out of order. It's brilliantly well done.
You see, if you like Brian Cox, and I don't normally talk about radio, but I am obsessed with I get myself off BBC Sounds as much as it kills me to say so, but I love old radio plays, old radio series, and that's what I usually listen to, as well as audiobooks. He's in a wonderful detective series set in the 1700s in Edinburgh called McLeavy.
Wow.
Set in Scotland, and he's like a policeman, and it's just great. Just really? McLeavy, get it on BBC Sounds, start at the beginning, otherwise it won't make sense. Just fantastic storytelling, great acting. It's all radio plays. They're all marvelous. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Graham. That's hilarious. I'm not putting it up on the screen. Hilarious. What else are you watching?
Okay, so I know you and I love Nicola Walker, but I'm going to talk about a Nicola Walker series that she's no longer in, only because the series has now moved into its 5th season. It's called Unforgotten. It's on ITV. It's about cold cases.
Binge watched it 2 nights.
Boom. Well, there you go. It was Nicola Walker and Sanjeev Bhaskar as the boss and deputy of a cold case unit based in Hammersmith. So actually, a lot of it is shot around West London, so I love watching it just because I recognise.
In case you're walking along the pavement.
Yeah. Well, rather sadly, she's no longer in the series. No. For those that haven't caught up with it, I won't tell you why, but she isn't in the 5th series. No. She has been replaced with a very grumpy, another female boss.
Oh, God, I had fun with her on Twitter. I had such fun with her and Chris Lang, the writer.
Yeah.
She is so miserable.
So grumpy. And of course, inevitably, because the 2 main characters in the last series were so close and such good friends, and that storyline follows through, inevitably, the Sanjeev Bhaskar character was not going to get on with the new boss. So the whole of the first episode, and I'm now on to episode 3 or 4. Don't tell me what happens because I haven't watched to the end yet. A lot of it is about this fraught relationship. But of course, there's a great case behind it. And there are lots of sort of weird characters. That a dead body is found in an old house in Hammersmith up a chimney. There's a sort of...
It's not Father Christmas. That's not a spoiler. No, in case you thought it was Father Christmas.
No, and it's not a chimney sweep.
It's not Dick Van Dyke's friend.
Exactly. There's a suspicious aristocrat. There are a couple of drug addicts.
Is he not the most terrific actor? The guy playing the MP from the House or whatever he is.
Oh yes.
Hello,
I'm Tony. I can't remember his name.
What an actor! Oh my God.
Very good. I think he's very suspicious, but I'm going to wait and see if he turns out to be a bad un. I think he might be a wrong un. Anyway, we'll see. But it's good. It's set up extremely well, and I can't wait to
And
get
who's
back
in it? And who? Hayley Mills.
Hayley Mills.
Hayley Mills.
Yeah. who I met a million years ago when I filmed Through the Keyhole with Sir John Mills, long time ago.
Hayley Mills. I'd
Yeah.
faint. Been in love with
I
her
know.
since whatever she was in. I always loved Hayley Mills. And what is interesting about that is that she hasn't had any work. Forgive me, but you live so long in Hollywood, you know where I'm going with this. She hasn't had any work done. She looks like an older version of Hayley Mills. And
Are
that's
you sure?
great.
Okay, I don't know. I can't say one way or the other.
When you see the close-ups, you make up your own mind. I don't think if she did, she'd get her money back. But it's Hayley Mills. We just love Hayley. I can believe it. Like, oh my God! I was sitting there with the dog, going, "It's Hayley Mills." Pathetic.
And her father was one of the nicest people I ever met. He was so kind and so warm and generous. Just a really lovely human being.
Isn't it great when you hear that? Like, not, oh, he was completely awful. You think, but I've loved him all my life.
Well, he didn't have to let, the cameras into his home and take part in a game show like Through the Keyhole. And I just thought, well, actually, how lovely that he still wanted to be part of what was going on. And, just a warm and generous and open person.
Oh, nice. What is this show? Rabbit Hole? No, not familiar with that.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Don't even know what that is. No idea.
Haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Anyway, so another rabbit hole for us to go down. I know I'm afraid it's another police drama, but we seem to be awash with police dramas at the moment.
They are good. Grace, by the way. Sorry, every time I watch it, I think of you. The latest series of Grace, binge watched that. Terrific, because the writer's your mate down in Brighton, and excellent. John Sim, beg your pardon. Excellent. Very good. Very good.
Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, that came back onto ITV 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I think they've just come to the end of the showings of all of the latest
very good
series. And I think there's a stage play now as well for anybody who's in England and wants to see Grace on stage. I think there's a stage play too.
Is there?
I think so, yes. I'm almost sure I've read about it.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
There's a very weird subplot with that, with the wife. So weird.
Oh, don't say anything.
I don't know what's going on. I'm completely in the dark.
Okay. Right. We better not say any more.
No.
Anyway, if you got some free time over the weekend, BBC One has just brought out a Northern Ireland police series. And actually, I like it because it looks and sounds and feels quite different. We're awash with sort of English police series, but actually something out of Belfast feels a little bit different. The policemen look different, the clothes are different, the cars are different. So you suddenly feel as though you've been transported to another place. And it's about 3 rookie, i.e. on probation, young police officers who come into the same unit, and off you go, and off we go at the races. So we've got the story of the young people. Clearly there's going to be a lot about their personal lives, how they're getting on at work, as well as a thunderingly good, ripping yarn about, we think, probably drug dealing going on in Belfast. There's the whole backdrop of the sort of the past history of the Troubles. MI5 seem to be driving around in unmarked cars, and we're not quite sure what that's all about. But the dialogue is really snappy, and it just feels really fresh. And I saw a friend of yours and mine, Russ, on Facebook a couple of days ago, who used to be one of the heads of entertainment at the BBC. And I saw her saying that she'd binged watched every episode.
Wow.
Immediately.
Ooh,
so
and what is the name of this drama?
It's called Blue Lights. I'm sorry.
Blue Lights. There we go.
Blue Lights.
Yes. Yes, I've seen a few people talking about that. They're saying it's really, very good.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's really not bad at all, and I think it'll happily sit into the new schedule on BBC One. So that's where it is.
I'll tell you what's going off the boil. I thought.
Oh, tell me.
It's just me. Look, I've never written a TV. Well, bits and bobs, but I've never written a TV show. So really, I should shut the hell up. But as a punter, the Beyond Paradise.
Oh,
I thought it got a bit. He's so good. Chris Marshall is so good, and the actress, and I'm very sorry I don't know her name, playing the fiance they're excellent. I don't know, didn't.
I haven't seen the last.
Wasn't doing it for
I
me.
haven't seen the last episode.
Yeah.
I'll
stick with it because I like Chris Marshall so much. I like the scenery and like that stuff. You were talking about things being different, and you feel you're immersed in another country, which is great. And I watched a film, not with much expectations. I really enjoyed it, called Fury, not the one with Brad Pitt in a tank. Furie, Fury.
Okay.
It's Netflix Vietnam. You totally feel you are in Vietnam. Everything about it is alien, no pun intended. It looks totally different. The roads, the buildings, the way everyone's living and eating. It's as far away from like a London police procedural as you could imagine. And if you like a sort of martial arts, full on from the first frame, it doesn't let you go. So it's called Fury. If you like it, may not be your cup of tea. I found it very entertaining.
And it's a Vietnamese production.
It's Netflix Vietnam. Joking aside, that's what it is. It's all obviously in subtitles because my Vietnamese is quite limited to the point of non-existent. But it's really it's very, very gritty and unpleasant, and the action sequences are great, and you feel. I was just echoing what you were saying about taking you to another place, and you think, yes, this looks completely three-dimensionally authentic.
Oh, well, Netflix have also got a new political drama that's out called The Night Agent. Started about 2 weeks ago on Netflix. 10 episodes. Sort of young, hunky FBI guy who you see help people from a bomb on a train right at the beginning. And then you cut to him working in the basement at the White House, and you don't quite understand why he seems to be this underling that everybody doesn't rate. But actually, we already know that he's a bit of a superhero because he's done his superhero act on an underground train, saving everybody. But then you realize there's a whole big political shenanigans going on around it. Right. And is there something going on at the White House that shouldn't be going on? So are people quite do those things? But actually, it feels like a movie. They've spent a lot of money on it. Very good car chases, really good setups, lots of locations, very good editing. It really feels as though a lot of cash has been spent on it. So it's an above average, sort of thriller. Over 10 episodes. And I think it's going to be good. I've watched the first 2 episodes and it certainly kept me on the edge of my seat wanting to go back. And, that's the message.
Our New York critic's back. Watched it.
Say?
I watched it, okay, but didn't love it.
Well, there we are.
I'm just doing a New York voice.
Exactly.
That's from the Bronx.
All we can do is offer some suggestions. If people like them, terrific. And if you don't, that's
give them a go. But most people always come back to me. I get so many private messages. Or watched XYZ because Chantal said it a couple of Fridays ago. Oh, it was great. Please tell her it was great. And I go, okay.
Lovely.
Well, it's nice, and it's awesome because you're so spoilt for choice. But there is so much crap out. I mean, there is because the streaming services have to have such a volume of stuff. There is a load of trash and some absolute gems. Absolute gems. I have a question for you quickly as we wind up. Is that a lot of these shows, all the ones that we've mentioned, the production value on them looks fantastic.
Yeah.
You used to have dramas and it was all set in someone's kitchen. But now they all look kind of like movies. They're not. But they look like, they feel like movies, don't they? Is that a deliberate thing?
I think that's what Netflix is doing, is putting a lot more money into dramas. I mean, clearly they're making a lot of money out of them, so they've got a lot of money to spend. Yeah. But, what you see is what you get. And if it looks great, it's probably because somebody spent a lot of money on it.
But I was even thinking of like Grace and The Bay and all those other things. And Unforgotten. They all look, they're very glossy, high. They look terrific now.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
I mean, we're soon going to get into a much more digital world where sets are really digital sets, and you won't be able to tell the difference between a real set and a digital set. So digital art directors are the big thing in Los Angeles at the moment. Everybody's trying to train themselves to become a digital art director so that you create everything in a digital form, and then actors act against it. So they've got screens behind them and they act against
And
it.
there's me happy if I can get an email out that doesn't look like rubbish. Chantal, have a wonderful Easter break. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you looking so fabulously well. That's it. Surprisingly, Neil Long and I will be back on Monday. With a sort of Easter Monday special. I'll be wearing a bonnet. Till then, bye-bye. Stay out of trouble, everybody. Bye-bye.